Welcome.
Yes.
Yes.
It's really exciting to start a business. This is the second time this has happened to me in 5 years. There are not a lot of jobs.
Cherese, welcome to
Yes.
Riveter's Time Well Spent.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited for a conversation with another person who lost their job but turned it into
Yep.
an amazing opportunity through entrepreneurship.
Yes.
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 Hands up. Cheers.
I know, it's really exciting.
And we're going to get into that, but I wanted to start off by hearing the story of the first time you were laid off 4 years
Okay.
ago. What was that like? What did you feel like? What do you remember from back then?
Yeah. So my first time I was laid off, I was 27 from a job I actually really loved and was excited about. And I had only been there 5 months before the layoff. I remember just feeling so scared and anxious and stressed because I kind of was like, what am I going to do? I'm like, how am I going to pay bills? I've never done this before. And employment really fast. I had to leave states to do that, from Tennessee to California.
Do you remember back then sort of how you spent your first week? Who were some of the first people you talked to? What did you do? Did you know how to figure out
Yeah.
health insurance or apply for unemployment benefits or any of that? Well, going through that for the first time.
My uncle, who's been like one of the mentors I've was like, oh, you have great experience. Like you'll find something quick. So I was applying to jobs both in Tennessee. My first week, the day I found out I got laid off, I went home and applied actually for the job I eventually got. What I did was I just started, if I wasn't applying for jobs, I was writing this business plan and trying to figure out how I was going to monetize this concept.
And then this time, 4 years later,
Yeah.
you took a very different angle on it. And what happened this time where you lost your job during COVID? How did you respond differently?
Yeah. So during this time, I think my 27-year-old self didn't feel confident in her abilities to start a business in a company. And maybe the relationships I have now in with certain providers and in these different healthcare spaces, I didn't have those like I do now. I just kept seeing, I think, now my strengths and really playing on those strengths. And when I was laid off this position during COVID, of course, it's scary that everyone's getting laid off. There are not a lot of jobs, or it seems that way, that there aren't a lot of jobs and people hiring, and it's more the other way. But this time I was like, this is the second time this has happened to me in 5 years. And I feel like this is a sign. I've liked my jobs since my last layoff, but I haven't loved them. I was, really passionate about my last one before the layoff position, but, I just haven't ever been fully felt like, this is like, I'm doing the most here. I've always kind of felt held back a little bit. So during this time, I felt with another severance package and a lot more support and just confidence in myself and my abilities that, I feel like the right time to really do this thing.
During this time, were you just saying, you know what, I'm starting this business no matter what, that's what's happening? Or were you still contemplating maybe there's a job, maybe there's something, or did you fully dive off the deep end?
Yeah, I was contemplating both. So I started applying for different companies, looking at companies. I did some interviews with companies, just to make sure and kind of, because there's always that safety net, right? I think if you've been in the corporate world, you're used to these, 401k packages, the benefits, this kind of like almost like a bubble that you're in a little bit when this is all you've known. And, I talked to a career coach that one of my sales mentors, put me in contact with, and she was kind of going through with me, what has ever stopped you from doing this? And it's really like, I'm used to these packages and like the security. And she goes, well, you've been laid off for twice in 5 years. Like, it's just as insecure as starting your own company. You're in it's your own destiny in a sense. And, that was really for me, like, you're right. Like, there's no security going to work for somebody else or another company that can change the way they do business and their strategy at any moment. And so she kind of like, you know, really pushed me in that. And we talked about that a lot. And I was like, you know, she's right. What do I have to really lose at this point? I'm lucky to have severance. My last company was gracious enough to give me an extra 3-month benefit package with healthcare. And I think even without that, I still would have done this, taken the risk, but you know, that was nice as well. So I feel at this point, it's like, when you get this, you know, what do I really have to lose? If it doesn't work, the corporate world's always there, you know, their jobs were there, even if it's not your same level maybe of an employment, you can always find something to do, even if it's maybe not at the skill level you were doing before. But yeah, so that's kind of my way of thinking about the latest furlough or layoff, I guess.
Cherese, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for reaching out. I hope this was helpful for future entrepreneurs as well.
Inspirational, I think.